I'll have no tone to my voice. It'll be just like the lobster.
And welcome to the very first episode of Weird Austin. I'm sitting here with Ronald Witt.
Correct.
Okay. We're in his lovely abode, surrounded by interesting artwork and weaponry.
Definitely weaponry.
Definitely weaponry. I have a...
Might not cut you, but it can poke you.
Oh. Yeah, they look pretty sharp. A little dull, but pretty sharp. I have a Altair sword replica that I bought online for like $160.
That one can cut you, though. That's kukri.
Ooh. The picture looked nothing like what I got, and I called them up and I was like, hey, you guys had a picture of a really cool sword, and I have like this semi-plastic, semi-unusable POS. What's up with that? And they're like, oh, yeah, what we put on and what gets sent to you, we have a different supplier.
Ones that are displayed, and then switched it out for ones that were not as good, but they're not plastic, but they're not metal.
Right.
They're somewhere between.
They said it's display and not combat ready. Which means that if I attempt to use that...
That's the way this was.
I'm screwed.
That's a double-bladed axe. It's not battle ready, but we've sharpened it. So
where at?
At home.
You sharpened it here?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Whetstone. It's years ago.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Which town?
And that reminds me of Tyrion. Every sword needs a whetstone.
And then we cut up some watermelons and cantaloupes.
Gallagher style. Okay.
Less smashing and, no crowd, unfortunately, but yeah.
Less mustache, right?
No, we had mustaches back then.
Oh, it was a need. Okay, I got you. So, let's get to the hard-hitting questions. What's, like, one double standard that you just don't agree with?
Double standard. Let's take the recent one. There's a shooting. They claim it's Republicans, but still a shooting. The double standard is they're like, well, we blame the liberals, and I was like, and the liberals blame the Republicans. What's up with that? It's like, it's a shooting. I was like, yeah, you should feel sensitive about it, regardless if the person... I guess the senator, I can't remember his name offhand, but I know a little bit about his background. He's considered one of those begrudgingly bad Republicans, so to speak. But I'm like, he hasn't killed anybody. He probably doesn't mean to kill anybody with anything he does. But yeah, he was shot. I guess he recovered. I didn't actually follow up on the news on that. They killed the guy that was actually going after him, who was supposedly a Bernie supporter, which still, yeah, this double standard on that is like, why would you hold what he... against the guy. Now, if he was obviously some sort of part of some sort of terror organization, KKK, something, and something else, American-born or foreign-born, yeah, you'd probably want to hold it against the guy. Or, even if the Republican guy was part of something like that, KKK or foreign terrorists. But yeah, it's just double standards. Everybody's like, well, we want to label him as a Republican, but we want to hold it against a liberal. But we've also said in the past, as Republicans, we want less, restrictions on guns. But in the past, liberals have said we want more gun control, and this is kind of like it supports both sides of negativity. Double standard. They just need to realize, like, yeah, some poor guy in Congress, even with this special security, was shot. Yeah, it's just showing either how bad or sideways things are going with how people are going to react to stuff in public. I mean, just like you had the two shooters with the poor pizza shop that was like, yeah, we've connected Hillary Clinton and the Clintons to that, and there's child pornography and stuff and sacrifices going on underneath this pizza shop in Washington.
Right, the logo was child pedophile thing, yeah.
What?
Huh.
They had two people going there. I think one person ran off, the other person stayed long enough for police, and they arrested him. He was like, there's no basement. Now it just goes to the point of, like, believing so much stuff.
On the flip side, what's one thing that you thought was true but turned out that you were just fighting the truth against?
Fighting the truth against. I guess back when the voting was going on, I was like, okay, I'd like to champion the Democrats for the party and everything. I was like, it should still be good against the whole entire Republican, whether it was Trump or Hillary, or just either side. I'd still support the Democrats, but the DNC and the whole entire inside deal with the DNC, and I was like, it can't be that bad. Then they had all the release stuff, and they're like, yeah, we wanted to actually slam Bernie Sanders, and I'm like, why would you want to support your own running mate? And I was like, maybe it's somebody else that doesn't really have anything to do with the inside of the DNC, and still it was. And I was like, but yeah, just the whole entire Democrat side of itself during the presidential election just screwing itself over royally. And everybody's like, well, why won't you vote for Trump? I was like, I don't want to vote for either of them. But when it comes to a side, I'd rather vote and go for a Democratic side than Republican, because they seemed a little bit, yeah, they go with the stereotype of, we'll restrict it as long as it doesn't affect us type logic. It seems to be like, yeah, it works for us, it doesn't do anything against us, so we're going to do it. And as soon as they step on their toes, you're like, nope, we can't do this, we got to back off, we got to do something.
Okay. With so many echo chambers going on and so many different social circles, how do you say no?
No?
Mm-hmm.
Facts. As hard as to come by, but facts. You just have to read and research to actually not fall into the rut of, yeah, this and this. Ironically, the weirdest thing that came out, again, it's news speculation, everybody's still all 50-50 with the news, yeah, they're real, yeah, they're not real, especially with Trump and the Teamsters toting that. Like recently, I guess during some sort of congressional meeting, Trump said we're hurting. No, it was mean. It was mean about the new whatever insurance they're trying to push out again, and they're still talking about it. And he's like, this is mean to the American people. And it was like a full turnaround of, yeah, I'm on board with this whole entire health insurance, changes to it. And literally about the old one and the one that was currently still in that they were trying to polish. He's like, this is mean. And I'm like, I don't know, it was just a weird turnaround. I was like, that would be something more you'd want to hear out of Trump. It was like, this is mean. This is something, him, I don't know, I guess it's him actually doing nice things instead of trying to go with the grain of what everybody around him is wanting. He seems like he has his own image on the line of what he wants to cover, and then he seems like he wants to do good stuff as the president, obviously, and then some reason it seems like he sold himself to too many things and too many people, probably. He's like, I have to all these people these things when I get in presidency because they got me to be the president. Yeah, it just seems like there's something along the way. I don't know, he sold his soul to something.
With everyone being so reliant on technology and convenience, what would your rules for living up to your species' potential be?
Oh my god. I'd have to go with, what is it, Japan or Korea? One of the Oriental East ones. I think it's China. China has the biggest whole entire gaming stuff. There's actually a documentary on it. I don't remember the name or anything. They believe that the technology, computers and all that, can only be used for education, furthering yourself, furthering businesses, etc., etc. They don't believe it should actually be even used really for gaming or entertainment. They consider it a tool, like a book you read to get information, or a hammer you use to hammer a nail. They consider it a tool, and it shouldn't be used for entertainment. And they believe that's actually how we're going to further ourselves, is through using technology, I guess, as a tool instead of entertainment. I mean, they already had that meme go around, which is like, yeah, you have aliens laughing at us, and they're like, yeah, what are they doing? They have this technology that can get them all the information at the touch of a finger. What are they doing? They're looking at cat memes, and yeah. But yeah, technology, advancement through technology.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember if there was another quote from some guy. Or was it fictional? Was it making your future better today? I forgot. I think it was from some Marvel or DC thing.
Okay, and you're talking about people using technology to communicate and kind of like fill time.
Yeah, I mean, you can get anything as long as you can track down factual information. You can get anything. You want to cure foot fungus, you can look up 20 different ways to cure foot fungus. You just have to decipher which ones work for you, which ones are true, and which ones actually work.
Well, instead of information gathering, what about like information dispersal? How could people be more effective communicators in your eyes?
Twitter with hyperlinks.
It's very weird to hear the president just tweeted.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, I mean, he's already shot himself in the foot with that, which is like they're already going to have where his Twitter posts are considered official government documentation and cannot be deleted or altered.
Wow. I thought that was the case for everybody, though. Isn't there like an archive out there that has everybody's Twitter?
Probably is archived, I imagine. If not where we can see it, it's probably still there, yeah. In the internets. But going back on, what was it? Yeah, I guess not necessarily having one form. Like we have so many different type of media forms we can use on the internet, software and hardware wise, to get information out there. Podcasts for one of those, because I mean that once it's out there on the internet, it's on there forever in one form or another.
Yeah.
So you exist forever. It's the cure for cancer. Now, so let's say the cure for cancer. What is that? Immortality, one form or another, which is whether you exist photographically, verbally, something. It's a cure for cancer.
We're all in search of immortality in one way or another.
So yeah, I guess just all the different modes of presentation. It's just like on the side here, I have Twitch TV going on my thing. This is a tournament. I don't know where, and this is information getting out. We wouldn't know about this if it wasn't on here.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just basically, I guess, the mode and how it's used. I mean, you can use Twitter, obviously, used for gossip or whatever, but if you use it for news, actual factual news, stuff you can back up, yeah, that's the way it should go. Something you can read, videos. Yeah, that's the way it's become. It's like in my days. 40, back in my days, news was watching your 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock news, or 3 p.m. pre-news, and then your 9 o'clock news. That's all it was, and newspaper.
And their hook was like the weather too, right? You had to stick around.
And even before then, you had the, what were they called? That was the paper boys, but before then they were called something else. They were out there hollering out, hey, yeah, yelling out the headlines, and then you have to toss them your dime, and then poof.
The town crier, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's what my dad calls himself. Interesting. Okay. How about diet? What do you think is like the worst thing we're putting into our bodies right now?
Processed stuff. Actually, going back, ironically, I mentioned Peggy in this, but she was she made a post and basically is like, you know, more and more people are becoming more allergic to whatever, lactose intolerance, celiac disease, stuff like that. And I told her, I was like, well, the reason why, and they've already done a conclusive study, people are intaking more artificial stuff, whether it be artificial milk, foods, carbs, proteins, whether they're made naturally, obviously GMO or whatever, yeah. People that have lived on farms have ingested real dairy, either straight from the cow, goat, whatever. People that have ingested grains directly grown from there, not processed, not shipped, you know, from overseas or different states or wherever. The people that have lived on like that, whether it be in their past history, generations or whatever, they have little to no chance really, unless genetically inclined, to have celiac disease or lactose intolerance. The most recent generations that have lived more locally, I'd probably say probably at least the last 40, 60 years, they have higher chances of having celiac disease or lactose intolerance because their body's used to the synthetics. They're not used to the real foods. It goes along with the basic concept of if you go on a liquid diet, if you ingest a solid, like a good burger or something, and you're just like on a smoothie diet, you're going to be constipated, and it's going to impact your system. You're going to be like, what is this? Because your body's going to be like, what is this? It's not used to a solid, because you've been having liquids the whole time. It's the same thing if you haven't had actual real lactose with everything in it, the proteins, the enzymes, and all that. Your body's like, what is this? And it's just, you're just going to poop yourself. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I'd say is artificial ingredients that just aren't needed. I mean, I miss being able to go out to a market, buy fresh foods that haven't been sprayed with vitamin C to keep the fruit coloring or whatever if they've been sliced.
Yeah.
Fresh meats that haven't been over sodium, too much sodium. It's obviously needed because actually it's an old technique, but it still works to keep the bacteria out. It's just like with the common concept of eggs. Most Americans don't know you don't have to refrigerate your eggs unless they're made in America. Is because of the cleaning process that's used on them. They're overly sterilized, and it actually makes the eggs porous so the bacteria can get in easily because of the cleaning process. Yeah, they're clean, but they don't need to be that clean. If you go overseas, you will find chicken shit or whatever still on your eggs. That means they haven't been super clean, but you can take them home, clean them, and leave them on your counter for weeks. In the U.S., it's the reason why is because in the U.S. how stuff is shipped is so dirty. Yeah, but yeah, artificial stuff.
Okay.
Get rid of it.
What would you eat more of then? Because you're saying fruits and veggies, but like, don't we have wax on those as well? And there's still other techniques that we have to watch out for.
They do have the wax technique they use on a lot of fruit. What was the other one?
I was just in vegetables as well.
Vegetables. Veggies, all you can really do is if you can grow them yourself, do it. Other than that, just find a market that you know actually receives it and it's not transferred too much. It doesn't have any artificial crap set on it to keep it fresher longer, which in turn you ingested and you're kept fresher longer, so to speak. As far as the wax on fruit, I've seen stuff on it. I've actually not researched it myself because I actually don't buy too many fruits. Apples and oranges mainly. But I haven't done like the whole entire shaving, scraping it off to see if there's any wax. It's probably most likely a production, whichever business is doing that. Yeah, but yeah, you'd be thinking they'd have a warning label on that.
No, Sprouts and HEB does. They tell you avocados and apples and etc. They say to definitely scrape it off, and they even sell like a cleaning supply. But they also tell you just water and some soap that doesn't have any kind of not bacteria, but antibacterial. Just like a regular organic soap is better.
Yeah, something you can ingest.
Right. Yeah. They say also to you could de-skin it, but the majority of
you want the skin for the nutrients.
Right.
Your intestines love that shit. Okay. What is it? Yeah, just more natural stuff. It's like me, I'm still sticking to eggs in the morning. I'll just scramble them normally. Maybe a dab of butter just to keep it from sticking to the pan. That might get absorbed by the eggs. And toast. That's about all. That's what I usually eat in the morning when I'm off. Other than that, it's just oatmeal.
Do you stay away from anything enriched?
I try to. Like even last night I had some udon noodles. I was like, let me have that real quick after work so I can go to sleep easily. I looked at the udon noodles and I was like, this is the last time I'm getting this package because I'm looking at it, it's like enriched wheat. And I was like, it's udon noodles. It's supposed to be potato starches. It's not supposed to, and veggies, it's not supposed to be, yeah, it's wheat grain, but it's also enriched, which means we processed it. And yeah, you don't need those extra nutrients. That's why people are like, carbs are bad. And I was like, carbs are actually good for you. It's just the way certain carbs are processed is it's enrich everything. And I'm like, no, you don't need that. It's like fructose corn syrup and high fructose corn syrup. Fructose corn syrup is actually good for you. It actually stabilizes your glucose. High fructose corn syrup is concentrated fructose syrup, which you don't need. The only reason why it's pretty much out there is because it's cheaper. That's the only reason.
Okay.
Fructose syrup is just fine for you. You obviously still don't want to overdo it. You can still develop, your type 2 diabetes, but still high fructose corn syrup. Oh my God, it's in everything. That's that's mainly to make us want it. Our bodies crave it. So what they say about the wild is you don't have as many sweet things or salty things in the wild, and ever since we've been able to produce that stuff, we're like, we want sweet and salty.
Yeah. A lot of our trail mixes are basically that. Okay.
Yeah, fresh produce. Fresh produce, anything you can make fresh at home, even if it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to make it. If you know how to bake bread at home with natural ingredients, do it. If you know how to actually produce a garden properly, do it. That's where it's going to end up going, especially if it was like in sort of what they would call apocalyptic war or whatever.
Right, yeah. Didn't we used to have the victory gardens too? Like, that seemed a lot more, better for us, I guess.
I thought about doing it in here, but there's not enough light for veggies. Could probably grow some low light, dim light, mid to low temperature veggies.
Grow them in your closet like Hank Hill and his roses.
Asparagus. You can grow asparagus.
Asparagus.
Almost anywhere. You usually don't want it in extreme heat. Extreme heat can kill it. Texas weather. That's why it grows kind of like it grows in stalks, but it kind of grows low to the ground, and it also has I don't want to say it's vines, but it also has other roughage that grows from the asparagus that actually protects it to a degree.
Okay. How could modern humans educate themselves better? I know you're saying, there's a wealth of information online, but where would you go?
That one I'd have to stick with the saying of you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink it.
Well, I mean, if there are some horses that are looking, to get a drink of water here. What would you
showing
tell
people
them?
where info's at, so people know, hey, if I need something, I can get this, like nutrition stuff. There's tons of nutritionists out there right now. There's tons of science behind it. I like that it's actually learning. Just saying that instance, people are still getting artificial with nutrient supplements for working out, bulking, or whatever, but they're still keeping it to where it's not going to harm you. And otherwise, you have other GMOs that are out there for veggies and fruits and everything that are being shown to harm people. Yeah, just knowing your education on stuff like that, that's one way to go about it. I guess that goes back to learning fact from fiction. Vape, everybody's like, for a while, the vape craze, and then there's like, well, it has bad side effects. It's like, yeah, you're inhaling something that's a scented thing, it has no nicotine, that's fine, but you're inhaling something that's scented into your lungs. I haven't studied the actual scented ones, what they do to you internally, but I imagine it's probably a mild VOC, which is a volatile organic compound. Dryer sheets, VOC.
Oh yeah, you're talking about that.
Concentrated scents, super concentrated soaps, those are considered VOCs, which is they're naturally occurring, yes, but they're in concentrated form, therefore they can hurt you. They can cause irritation, some people can cause anaphylactic, everything. Has to go with the vaping too, which is where I was like, well, yeah, it's okay. Wait, it's not okay. It's okay, but it's not okay. I mean, Canada, they banned it.
Right.
Because they found out those, one, it still has nicotine. It's like, it's supposed to pull you away from cigarettes. It's like, but you're still vaping it at your own pace, and if it still has nicotine, even though a small amount, you might still try to go through the whole package
Yeah, absolutely.
in a few days, not being able to gauge your nicotine intake, and nicotine in itself is nightshade. It's a poison.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
It's nightshade. They use it in hospitals to suppress respiratory.
Does it thin the blood?
No.
What does it do to the blood?
Nothing really. It's more or less, was it,
I heard it constricts your blood vessels or something.
what's the terminology it's used for it? I imagine in cigarettes it does, because it probably has other additives in there that help with that.
Okay.
Nicotine itself I don't think it affects your blood. That I don't know. I do know it can suppress your respiratory, it can slow down your heart rate, basically seem like you're going into a sleep. That's what it does. It puts you to sleep, but if you overdose on it, you go into a terminal sleep.
What is it, 36 milligrams, I think? I read somewhere it's 36 milligrams for, like, the average person.
I don't know the dosage. It's probably different per weight, but I don't know
Yeah,
the dosage. But I mean, still, it's used in hospitals, and they say you can overdose on it and you die.
Jeez.
And I'm like, it's in your nicotine. It has addictive properties.
Right.
That's why it's put in your cigarettes for some reasons. They've been able to get away with it. It's in your vape liquids. If you choose to get vape liquids with percentages of nicotine, you're choosing to intake something that's, yeah.
I heard a lot of pneumonia cases were happening, like the water, or not water particles, but just like the liquid was
Liquids and pneumonia. From the nicotine or the vape?
from the vapes. Yeah, that was one of the reasons I stopped.
I mean, it is moisture based to a degree. I can imagine some people are going to react to it differently. But yeah, it's just vaping in itself is like, your lung tissue is extremely sensitive. It has to regenerate at its own rate. It's the same with your eye. Your eye regenerates at its own rate. There's nothing you can really do to help it heal faster. You actually just cover it, don't move it, don't scratch it. That's all you can do. It's the same thing with your lungs. Everything, like me just going to and from work, like I taste the car exhaust. I'm just like, and I'm inhaling this stuff. It's a really sensitive organ / tissue. And
Yeah.
you're just inhaling this stuff. I mean, it's like going up to a lit oil candle and just trying to inhale all that stuff. It's like, yeah, it tastes good. Yeah, it gives me the cessation of smoking, but I'm not smoking and I'm not getting nicotine. I was like, well, what else is that scent stuff that you're inhaling doing to you? Because it's obviously going to get absorbed by your lungs.
I actually went nose blind to it. I had one flavor, it was like a mango, for about 2 months because I just loved it. And one day I just tasted tin and only tin, and I was like, oh, this must be broken. And I brought it in over at Create-A-Sig. The guy behind the counter, tastes mango. And I was like, no, there's no way. Try again. I still taste mango. I grabbed this random guy. Can you taste this? I taste mango. I was like, well, what's happening? And the guy's like, oh, have you switched a flavor in a while? Gone about a month or so? I was like, no, same one. He's like, yeah, you're tasting the other stuff. I was like, wait, what other stuff?
Ew.
And he's like, yeah, your brain is just filtering out the other information, and you're just getting the the bad flavorings. And I just threw it away that day. I was done. You have to disgust yourself from cigarettes. That's essentially how some people, they get a psychologist to put them under and make them, just disgusted at the taste of cigarettes. Yeah, that's essentially what happened to me.
It's almost like sodas. Like if I come off of sodas, I'm like really giving them up for like a month or two, if not longer. If I give it up for like a month, if not a few weeks, and I try to have a soda, I'm just like, this tastes horrible.
It's too much sugar, right?
Because you can taste it and everything that's in it that shouldn't be, and the sweetness is just bland because your body's like, okay, I don't need the sweetness anymore. That's cool. Then you try to have it, and your body's like, yeah, it's sweet, but I taste all this other stuff now too that was normally masked by the sweetness that you were like, I need this, I need this.
Yeah. Yeah, I had that problem as a kid. I had Superman ice cream with, the bubble gum in there. And
Ooh.
I know, it was terrible. I was definitely a child of the 90s. And after a while, I stopped. I went over to Barton Creek, and they had that little shop, and I tried it. Man, I threw it away immediately. I couldn't palate it at all. Anything, just like red velvet cake. I can't do it anymore. Just like anything super sweet or super just decadent. I just can't do it.
Red velvet cake. Gotta watch out with that one. That one's vanilla. It's actually a super sweet vanilla flavor.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Red velvet cakes. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's also
same with Big
red colored chocolate, right?
I know about on that one.
I thought it was like chocolate cake with the icing or cream filling or whatever.
Red velvet's usually cream cheese, and then the red velvet itself is technically a super sweet vanilla flavoring.
Huh.
That's what Big Red is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Drink.
Yeah. That's really like a lot of sodium in there too, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like if I need a caffeine craving, I'll usually go for that.
Have you seen the new Mountain Dew? It has.
I've already had it. I noticed when you posted on it, I was like, I just had that earlier today, and I was just like,
96 milligrams of caffeine.
I looked at it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna taste it. I'm just like, what is this? I'm like, it's a malt citrus flavored thing, monster thing, and I finished drinking it, and I was just like, I can feel the power. And I looked at it, and I was like, yeah, I understand. It's for was it President's or was it Memorial Day? Memorial Day.
I thought it was for 4th of July. But
okay, never mind. It could be 4th of July.
Yeah.
Marketing it. But yeah, I'm just like, you shouldn't drink this just because it has red, white, and blue.
Oh yeah, no.
It's horrible.
There's always some new craze with that. Like, I swear that now that they found out that they can market pretty much anything on social media and people just go nuts for it, like that's why we have like Doritos on everything and cheese with everything else. It's so bad for us.
Oh, wait, just like for a while, back in the 80s, 90s, they had the Extreme.
Oh yeah, with the X.
Extreme flavor. And I was like, what?
No E, just Extreme.
And they have all these weird... The marketing is so weird. I mean, you even go back to the Pepsi thing with the cops and the Pepsi thing, and I was like, who in marketing thought this would be intelligent?
What?
The reason why they showed it for just, I think, a day or two, if not less time. And it was a whole entire Pepsi thing with the cops, and they were having like some weird standoff. It was represented mildly and everything, but this chick walks up and it's kind of like, yeah, Pepsi can's gonna make better. She offers the cops Pepsi, and he's just like, yeah, it's cool. And it goes along with the whole entire cop standoff and everything else, and the problems with the public, I guess you could consider it. Obviously, people getting shot that shouldn't be shot by cops for whatever reason. It was just kind of like people were calling in about it. It's like, what is he supposed to represent? I was like, you give a cop a Pepsi can, he's going to be chill. And it was like, so the executives got word of that, and within the day, and they're like, let's pull it because this is weird.
Yeah. No, that makes sense now. There was a guy on YouTube that went to the riots, I think, in Boston, and he got 3 cases of Pepsi and was just like handing it out in the crowd, and people just started throwing them at each other. He's like, no, it's not what Pepsi wanted. And then that one cop just, he I don't know why, but he confiscated just one Pepsi, just one, and left the guy with the other bags, and he zooms in, and it's just like sitting off to the side, and like no one's drinking it, and he's like, why did he want it? That's nuts. I don't know what they would do.
You take a meme and a weird Pepsi campaign commercial and try to take it into reality. It's just not going to work. It's not.
Yeah, we're on an authenticity kick now, aren't we? Everyone just wants to not be fooled through marketing.
I guess, yes, but it's just still weird. Like, I like the weird commercials. Then you have like the super serious commercials and everything. Car commercials, safety, et cetera, all the features. Then, like, you go, like, to even just mention the Skittles commercials. Remember the old ones?
Yeah.
Like, my still favorite one is still the two guys with, they're on the sheep bodies, and they're just eating the Skittles off the stump. And I'm just like, this is awesome. I like this. I understand Skittles. It's weird, and I get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we used to get those around during the Super Bowl, and I feel like everyone's trying to have that level of, internet fame now. Everyone's trying to make their own Super Bowl commercial, like, every month.
Yeah, I guess it's probably money marketing. You could probably blame YouTube and other things for that. I guess it's one of the downfalls of, like, yeah, we have information everywhere, but is it information you need everywhere? Yeah.
Well, I think I hear the music playing there. It's about 30 minutes in, so we appreciate you joining us for the first one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. You want to say anything else, Ron?
Arf.
There it is, guys. All right.